Hi, my name is Sheila Corona. Welcome to Sassy Seer Sheila. Uh, Today is Thursday, August the 24th, 2023, and I'm joined by my housemate, my best friend, Lisa Flamino Rush. And I made this a DIY INcension because we haven't done that in a long while. I don't know that there's been any really on this newer channel. Um, because it all starts to run together as to when one ended and the new one began. Um, but when contemplating, because we're going to do a couple of recordings today, you and I.
Yeah.
So I wanted to share with you because we really haven't spoken since, other
Oh,
than good morning, hi, how are you? See ya, I'm going out to do my class and we'll check in later, that sort of thing.
right.
The last you knew, I was contemplating doing a live,
Right.
but I didn't even share what really had happened and what uh transpired after that because I did not do a live.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I knew you weren't even aware of that part.
No.
Well, first of all, I saw my post. You see, I had been contemplating the live,
Okay.
and I also desired to be outside.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I was gathering up my little things that I felt called to gather to
Okay.
bring with me to go outside,
Lovely.
and a few decks called. And as I turned around to get them, I had them lined up on my desk here, and well, I couldn't unsee what I saw there. It was the bottom actually of the two decks that called. And first of all, why did I set them to bottom up to where I could see them? They were both very complimentary of each other.
Nice.
All those wonderful things, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And the more I thought about it, the more I was like, no, these cards are specific, way too specific and way too so I want to share with you what they were because kind of give you some insight into why I wanted to do this today.
Mhm.
So the first card that came out was contemplation. Well, it didn't come out. It was the one on the left-hand side of the two that were lying side by side. You'll see the
Okay.
picture if you look on my wall.
Okay.
It is the last card in this deck called the Journey of Love, which is another of the decks where Rasuli,
Beautiful card.
I
Wow.
know, right? Rasuli does the artwork for these, and this is by Alana Fairchild or Elena. She
Okay.
she's the one why I always mispronounce Elena's name. Um, at any rate, I wasn't exactly moved to look at these,
Oh,
right?
okay.
I mean, because of the two cards, let me just get the other card out first. Because of the two cards and what they said and how they appeared together,
Mm-hmm.
contemplation and beyond the ego,
Yes.
right? Surrender to the flow of life is what it says underneath. And I
Beautiful.
can't help but see how it's the same being, two different decks now. Keep in mind,
Oh,
this is a completely different deck.
okay. Yeah, I would have thought they were the same. Just looking at those two
Right.
images before me, they look like the same artist,
Well,
even.
it is the same artist. Rasuli
Okay.
does do both of them.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
But completely different deck.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay. So seeing those, I decided instead of doing a live, I was going to do some an elongated stretching and exercise and just contemplative being with me,
Wonderful.
right? So
Yes.
I didn't even look at these cards
Okay.
at that point. I did, however, when I first saw them and decided I was going to, at first I did not. At first I thought, oh, I'm going to take those outside. And I started gathering up my little stuff, you know. And then because I had finished proofreading the explanations, I felt drawn to pull one of Journey into its light language activations. And this one literally jumped out at me.
Oh, I love it when that happens.
Right. So I had all of these, and then I had the third deck that wanted to come with me when I was contemplating going outside, but I hadn't seen the bottom of that, or look, that one didn't call to me at all at that point, just those three. And at that point, I made the choice. I didn't even know what this was yet. I knew I had the information when it was time, but I just went outside. And after I went outside, I came back in here and I just, without any music, without any meditative anything, just got real quiet and real contemplative. And I actually then was asked to begin to look at well, aren't you going to even look at them? Right?
Sure.
And so I did. And then I was also nudged to pull the one from the Hero's Journey Dream Oracle. And I don't know, it's just very interesting what it's all telling. It's all telling the story, I think, of what I've been moving through, this new way of being for myself, very contemplative, very in many ways unconcerned with much of anything outside of myself. In many ways.
Beautiful.
I got be reborn daily. That one actually fell out and hit the ground. That one actually fell out and hit the ground. And it's actually, I've been feeling very similar. You can barely see this being,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
They're there,
Outline. Yeah.
right? They are there.
Oh, yeah.
But I also see in the camera at this point, the larger them is also there.
Right.
And right.
All that light pouring in.
So it felt really huge. The whole thing felt really huge and kind of interesting, given that I had hoped to, do a DIY INcension sort of a catch up um, kind of thing for you and I. This morning I noticed yesterday I woke up at like sometime after 4 and decided at that point, oh, I'm not going to waste this time. I'm going to get up. And I did a lot of work yesterday. Just a lot of different things. And I didn't have that compunction to move like that today. However, I found myself sitting bolt straight up in bed at 5:55 a.m. this morning, which was kind of interesting to me. So, I mean, I have no answers for any of these. I did see later on somebody in one of the groups that I belong to, the Schumann Resonance group, said, did something happen with the timelines between I don't know, it was like 4 something in the morning to 7 or something in the morning? And I was like, well, I don't know. I really don't know, but it did feel odd that I saw 5:55 on the nose.
Right.
I don't usually do that. I don't usually pick up my phone. There have been times now where I pick up my phone and I'm like, I've been asleep for an hour. What? I feel like I've been sleeping all night. What is that? but not, I don't know. It was very interesting. And I felt called to share it because it's been kind of like right where I've been over this I kind of like here, but not here.
All right.
Yeah. So how's by you?
Very good. Very, very good. Yeah, I got out early this morning and it was very cool this morning, although it got very hot very early. So I came back in. I didn't have anything particularly profound going on today in that manner. So sorry, I have no update for you.
Well, no, maybe not today in particular, but since we've had our last one, I feel like
Oh, yeah.
there's been this huge, I don't know, there's a lot of growth on both your part and mine,
Yes,
since the last
I would agree.
DIY Incension that we did.
Okay. Yeah,
Wouldn't you?
I don't even recall when that would have been.
I know, that's why I said this is a bit of a catch up.
Yeah. Like did I'm sure that we did one about the workshop series, so everyone knows I'm sort of waist deep in my workshop series at the moment, which is going very well. I'm shocked by the layers of learning because some things I thought would happen did, and more surprising things have happened. Just, in regards to seeing more of me and my proclivities and my habits. Because, boy, once you turn that inner gaze or your gaze inward, there's so much to take in, that the longer you do it, the more proficient you get at, going in and maneuvering through the layers of self. And for me, scooping up the really good stuff and then bringing it back and, putting it into action. Because I've kind of been a lifelong meditator, is what I would tell you. I've meditated my whole life, and that's all very true. But the quality, I guess, of my abilities to go deep are increasing, and what I'm able to bring back with me and apply is gone off the charts. And again, I think that's just like, if I had taken up going to the gym regularly and I was going twice a week for 2 hours, by now you would be noticing it in my body. And so I kind of feel like that's the level I'm at now with my internal dialoguing and then execution of, so I'm turning knowledge right into wisdom because I'm using it and I'm seeing the benefits to it, and the more that I use it, the more comes forward for me to use. So yeah, I'm just getting really comfortable with myself, like for the first time.
I love what you said there about being comfortable with yourself for the first time because
Yeah.
I know for me, I'm feeling the very same thing in a different way.
Okay.
Um, Trusting in the moment that I'm in more ways than I ever have before, and seeing not only the beauty of relaxing into exactly where I am, even if it's not where I expected or what I thought it was going to be, or any of those silly, things that
Mhm.
because there's so many. I mean, I'm telling you, the whole thing about illusion and all that, there's we build up so much in our thought processes about different things and whatnot, how they're
Mhm.
going to look, and I keep cautioning myself, based on what? Based on your experience. But we're getting ready to have all new experiences, right? Oh, okay. So we cannot base that on all that went before. And that works in both good and what some may consider not great ways, right? But for me, I'm very much being asked to consider, in everything thought process I'm having, that's based on what now, right? I mean, that's one of the biggest questions that I keep having, in my head about my own experiences, and being open to them being shown different ones or different ways to experience things that are not, I was going to say not new, because that's just it. There's something about that not new thing. It's new, but not new. I don't know how to explain that. It's new to the ego part of me.
Sure.
To be to, I don't know, follow along and see where it leads at this point. Oh wow, okay, I just saw myself. Okay, this was too funny. I was just flashed me having a conversation with my teenage son at one point, saying, you better hurry up and do everything you want to do right now while you still know everything.
Yeah.
So because there will come a point in time, and I just heard my own voice saying that in my head. So, that's a true statement across the board, man. For anything that I think I know. That's what I'm being cautioned in this very moment. Anything you think you know. Be open to seeing that, well, maybe not exactly what you thought.
Yep. Yeah, I'm finding just being open and allowing to serve me very well right now. I'm noticing ways that I don't always allow my own well-being or my own comfort or my own peace.
Okay,
So,
that's interesting.
yes. Yes, it is.
Care to expound upon that at all?
Well, sure. It comes from the time that I'm spending contemplating and honestly reviewing, what's moving through me, my thoughts, and allowing them to be, just allowing them. Like, it used to upset me when I saw those things and I wanted to resist them or change them or be rid of them.
And you're speaking on whatever thoughts are arising, not judging them as they come up. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yep. Just sitting with myself.
Right.
And the act of allowing these things without judgment, without defining myself as a bad person for having these thoughts arise, has allowed them to leave in a way I really didn't anticipate. Because I thought I had to do something to change this or fix this or heal that. And in reality, I only needed to allow them to be. And pretty soon I could see, sense, and feel what they really are, which are just illusions. They're just ideas. And I don't have to subscribe to them. I don't have to own them. And I certainly don't have to embody them. But I see that I have done those things.
When you say embody, would you for some reason, what I heard, my guidance is trying to explain to me that it is the thoughts that actually not embody, but empower them. bring them to perhaps embodiment, the continued thoughts in that way. Yes, no? Is that
I'm not quite clear what you're trying to drive at there, but
you
I
you
clarify a little bit what I meant by that.
okay, thank you.
Okay, so for me, I have observed myself embodying my lowest thoughts and opinions about myself. So, and when I say embody, what I'm speaking on there is not only do I hold these opinions, so I'm thinking about them, I share my opinion that I have about myself with others, so I speak about it. And then I act on that as though that is the inner authority that I am moving through life with, right? So to me, that's the embodiment. So I have embodied my frustration. I've lived it out. I didn't just allow frustration to sort of drift through my awareness. No, I grabbed hold of it. I invited it for tea and then I wrestled it to the mat. And in so doing, I became frustration. I embodied frustration, and that is what left me and magnified itself out there by attracting more like things, so more frustration. And then it returns to me as the experience that I walk through, emboldening the original opinion that life is frustrating and I'm frustrated. So allowing the frustration to be something that I observe sort of drifting through the air, if you will, like I could have the frustrated thought or moment, and instead of embodying it, I notice it now and I say, oh, okay, so this is an invitation to play frustration. And I can if I want to, because I'm super good at it. Or I could choose a new thought and a new opinion and then act on that and bravely embody something completely different, which then allows me to have a completely new experience.
That's exactly what my guidance was sharing with me. And so thank you for that. It was kind of interesting to me that you were shown that in that way, as I too, in a bit of a different way, but was shown in regards to my movements with my body.
Yes.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
As my body is not used to moving in these particular ways, it can be what could be termed as painful in some ways, right? And I have been known to, resist pain at all costs. Let's resist the pain.
Whatever
Up
you
to
do,
and
don't
including,
stay in pain.
yes, comatose behavior. Yes, that's just, got to get rid of the pain.
Right.
And what I've noticed, this too has assisted for me in this understanding of allowing things to be and watching how I may or may not. I have the choice to assign a particular something to something. And it doesn't matter what it is. It can be a physical sensation. Trust me, I was just speaking on the whole pain thing, right?
Yeah.
And I could, what I was shown again today is that it is a matter of perspective and how I'm willing to receive what's happening also. Like,
Mm-hmm.
to give an example of what I was shown today, as well, and I think I've shared with you, as I'm doing these different exercises, stretches, the things that my body is saying, hey, this will help us and it'll make us feel good. So I do it, right? And I trust my body to move me in ways that it knows will be good for me.
Mhm.
I've asked it to do that, and now I've turned over and allowed it to do that. And it is doing that. And I don't need to worry about hurting myself because I've noticed that it's not like that, right?
Right.
And I've also been guided that as some of it, yes, it feels like, but it's like as that transpires, I'm guided to breathe in, and I'm breathing in light at the same time as that is. There's a modicum of pain there, but it now becomes something else. It is not something I am in resistance to, and
Mhm.
it enlivens and changes the entire experience for my body. And it had nothing to do with anything except for the way I was viewing it and whether or not I put up a roadblock or squeezed it off, choked out. Oh, this hurts. I can't take it anymore. Because that's what I would do, so dramatic and fall out. And
Me too. I'm a drama queen.
yeah, no, me too. So, you know, so I just happened to notice that's okay. That's so attractive there. I just happened to notice that that's what it has been like of late for me in those sorts of things. And like I said, why I'm really noticing for myself, and that's all I can really do is that if I allow myself the freedom to, oh, okay, take myself to the mat. That's what I just heard. Because you remember how before you said you take it to the mat, take myself to the mat and say, oh, really? Is this how we're looking at this? Because it's not the only way. So that's really interesting to me that I was just shown that again today. It feels very similar to what you've been doing for yourself on the other score.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I had that moment with, so I recognized that I was giving the power of my well-being away to doctors. And um and this doesn't mean to say that I wouldn't use the assistance of a doctor, but I witnessed myself giving my power away to the doctor, and that's
Same.
an entirely different behavior.
Yeah,
And
it is.
so I had a situation arising in my body, and it needed addressing. And it was progressively getting worse. I was ignoring it because I didn't want to deal with this particular issue. And avoiding it got me so far, and then it was turning deadly, the game I was playing with avoiding my own well-being. And so I got a message loud and clear from my body that I was dying, and if I didn't do something about it, that's what was going to happen sooner than later. So I dug deep, and I had to decide if I was worth the work I knew it was going to take, that I would be required to show up for myself now. And I had to first decide I was worth that effort and then to be about it. So I came to the conclusion I am worth it, and I am going to heal myself. So during the sickness, I saw myself cope with it this way. Well, now I have to go to the doctor, which I didn't like or enjoy, but now I have to do this and he'll fix it. I mean, I clearly had no responsibility in it for me. Like I I wasn't considering how I got here, and I wasn't considering how I get out of here. I knew the doctor would have a pill or a magic something that would set me straight. And that's what I needed. And so when even he was stymied by the precarious situation I was in, I began to see that he really didn't have the power that I was assigning to him in the first place. Like, that was a real wake up call for me, because I thought he was the all knowing doctor who could fix me. And he was sharing with me at this point, after several visits and trying everything in his toolbox, and actually my condition worsening, he said, I'm out of things to do. I have one last thing, and I've saved this for last because we know that it can cause other problems within your body, which means we're going to have to start to monitor you. Every 3 months, we're going to do a full blood panel, and we have to check certain things, because I was threatening organs in my body if I were to try this last resort medication. So I went home, and I had to acknowledge that there's no magic pill. No one else is an authority over my body. And if I want to live, it's up to me now. And that was a scary proposition, because I felt totally and completely ill-equipped for this job. And what I ended up doing is turning to my inner guidance and asking, what do I do? How do I heal this? And I was given very specific instructions. And back then, it was really in by the way of strong intuition. So I'd get a picture of me doing something, or I would recall a book or an article or a person that shared something with me, and I would like pick that up as a thread. Like, okay, so that was a clue. This is what I need to review.
You went on an inner quest.
Yeah. Yes. And I took my power back, right? And I followed the yellow brick road here, where when something golden and shiny highlighted, I went toward it, right? And I asked it, what do you have for me? What can you show me? And it was during that process I began to heal myself. And I shocked the doctor, and he was very surprised and proud of me, and said, look, you were able to do what I could not do. And so my advice to you is to keep going. Just keep doing whatever you are doing. And that was just loving me enough to put myself first and my well-being, and do everything within my power, and to help myself. And as it turned out, the more power I wielded in this direction, the more power came to me to wield, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, at first,
right.
It was a memory of somebody talking about something. And then I would read that, which, I researched lots of books and different doctors who were speaking on the subject. And I was able to follow a thread, step by step things. And I was listening to my body, and my body would say, yes, this is the way to go, or no, that's a dead end, keep looking. And in the end, it was about trusting myself. And once I was on a really steady healing track with my crisis, right, I decided to use the same techniques for moving forward in not solving a crisis, but so I feel good today. How much better can I feel? What else can I do for myself that adds to my well-being that I'm not already? And just asking those questions of myself brought in more data. And one piece that came to me was kind of what you're doing there. And I know I shared this with you before about my body showing me what it wanted, like even how I held it, how I moved my body, and doing these stretches, and the way, changing the way that I was sleeping, the way that I was walking, changing everything. And back then it was just really basic and simple stuff I kind of always knew that I wasn't doing. Like I knew I sat very hunched over and kind of rolled into myself. And I knew that that was causing a lot of problems. So, I tried to be conscious of where my posture is. And then I was asked to, my body said, now hold your stomach really firm. And I did. And they're like, notice your posture. Now let it go. Okay, now hold it. And I was just doing those simple things that my body was asking me to see. It was showing me my state of physical fitness, if you will, or lack thereof. And in any moment that,
Right.
I was willing to interact with my body in this way. And so I learned that technique of, after I would get out of the shower and, nourish my body with some oils and lavish my body with love, then I wanted to tune in and ask it if there were things that I needed to address. And it would show me things. It showed me different ways that I was getting in my own way for my well-being, that was actionable intel for the day. Just a small thing, just a minor tweak that I could focus on in that moment and hold and carry with me for that day, that would help me to become more aware of my body and to empower me to realize that the choices I make are either adding to my well-being or subtracting from my well-being. So I cannot stress enough what a beautiful tool that is, because when I shared that with you, you began to utilize it immediately. And I really feel like that is when we saw you transform before our very eyes here in this house, because you do not at all physically resemble the being that we met when we first moved down here
Oh, that's true. I don't.
in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, you're right. I
And
don't.
so I know through living here and seeing what you're doing, it is just your focus and attention on your own well-being, and then your receptivity to listen to what you get, even if it sounds silly or feels silly or looks silly. You've been willing to show up for it. And we're all enjoying the results of that. We can just see it on you, and it's encouraging, and it is inspiring, because I've watched you inspire all of my family, and I know that even my family that I don't know yet out in cyber world has been thusly inspired as well. So thank you for.
Well, thank you for saying that, but I want to be very clear about something. Even though you shared that with me at first,
Mhm.
it took me some time, to trust that information I was getting really was me, really meant something. It seemed so. What, because I'm being guided to hang out to the side of the bed and pooch your rear end out real far. Now, how's that going to help anything? I was starting to ask them questions, right? And then lo and behold, well, it actually makes you feel pretty good. So do go ahead. I think you ought to just keep going. So again, your explanation of what you were doing, right? I had a certain attachment to what it was going to sound like, look like, feel like, show up for me in my life like.
Right.
And it was nothing like what I had attached to it. And yet you know what I mean? I don't
No,
know.
I know.
It's
Yes.
completely different than what I
It's a
expected.
personal experience. Yeah. And so that, yeah, I would
And
have
now I
thought,
can't unsee it. I can't unsee it. I cannot just poo-poo or dismiss it on in any
no,
sort of way either
it's too
because
real.
of what it is doing for me personally.
Yes. Yeah. So it's uber important to let go of any attachment um, to how it should look or how it should feel or any of that, because we really don't know. And if you start with that premise, I don't know, that's to me, that's the heart and the mind of a student, someone who is willing to learn and to be shown. Because if you are a cyclopedia of knowledge on the subject and you bring that in, there really is no room now for new information. And so you're just acting in the ways that led you to where you are.
Well, luckily, like I said, like I've said to you before, luckily my inner guidance is a bit of a smart ass too, where it'll say, "Oh, wait a minute. So you're now let me just get this straight. You don't believe this over here because but you're still believing this over." I'm constantly shown where the beliefs have control
Right.
and where I've been shown how many of my beliefs actually were incorrect.
Yes.
I was taught wrong, heard it wrong, figured it out wrong, whatever the case may be. It was not anything like what I was told, shown, taught, believed in for so long. It's way larger, way more complex, encompasses that and a bag of chips, by golly. And and so my it keeps saying, "Oh, so you know that for a fact, do you?" I cannot tell you how many times I've heard that in my head recently. "Oh, you know that for a fact, do you?" And that's
Right.
what is also so beautiful about the proliferation of fact checkers.
That is
Oh,
funny.
right. I'm sorry. I just,
We are funny, aren't we?
yeah, we really are funny, punny, and
Yeah, laughing at myself is been profoundly helpful because
yes,
honestly, it is rather silly. And if you can just see it for what it is, it really doesn't have to have any control over you
no, that's
at
so true.
all. Yeah, it's
That's so
just
true.
silliness and you can let that go.
Well, I was also shown today very clearly that each of us is a window into the universe for divinity to express itself in physicality. We create as we move.
Mhm.
We can believe that or not, but that's for me, that's what I keep being shown. And
Well, test your premise. This is how I got where I am.
right.
I would have an idea or start with a premise, right? And then test it and experiment with it and prove to yourself beyond all shadows of a doubt what is and what isn't.
Yep.
Because it will become profoundly clear, especially if you spend time and attention um, you know, observing yourself and allowing what is there to um, inform me of what I'm doing and then decide if I want to keep doing that or not.
Right. Well, I cannot I cannot let our conversation go without bringing this up because
Yeah, I
this is
know.
what I've been spending most of my time doing, recording these.
Yeah.
And
And that's been so helpful because you're also speaking on it. You're bringing it up. So I want to point out here, we're embodying it, right? We're moving it down the track
yes,
by keeping it in our conscious awareness. And yeah, I like that. It's a very good book.
Yes, it is. And I, well, again, because of the focus and attention that I am putting here, I'm being shown again, how, just how it's like my guidance has been reiterating to me. There's this push for me to make sure I trust myself 100, because I'm being shown very specifically how this book came into my purview almost 2 years ago. And I was not nudged to begin it then. I was only nudged to begin it now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some pretty real time things for me that have been going on that I cannot unsee, the synchronicities that have to do with this book. And of course, it being published in 2018, there's some parts of it I feel, are way outdated and have changed and morphed, because I also feel exactly what they're speaking on in there, and that is the meetings that take place every night where, okay, hey, the free will choice of this one over here did this, and now we got to move this over here, and we're doing it's okay. I just heard the Adjustment Bureau in my head. I just heard the Adjustment Bureau in my head, because it's not, but because of the whole free will thing, stuff gets changed around all the time, right?
Constantly.
And so there's, I feel like there's all kinds of stuff like that happening because of all the different dimensions and layers that are all involved in what we got actually happening on the planet. With the, moving between frequencies, which I feel specifically drawn to talk about. Like I said, there was the other day when we were speaking, you and I were talking with, I think it was Crystal.
Okay.
And I was shown that information about the black hole again, right, in my mind's eye. And then later on, I'm recording in the handbook, and there's information there about a black hole again. Happened to look down on there's something in the news about a black hole again. And just, like I said, these things, these synchronicities, right?
Yes.
Um,
Well, I was going to say the universe is constantly conspiring to show you yourself. So it's an eternal dance that, yeah, if you look for it, you'll see it.
yes, because it feels like the metaphor for all of that is the same at every level. It's just, it shifts a bit,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, in terms of the handbook for the new paradigm, volumes 1, 2, and 3, we do want to do this one next, right? We're going to do this one next.
Yeah, I really do. I'd like to bring it up to the book study group and see if we can insert this before Big Toe, because Big Toe is a big one and it's going to take quite a while
right.
To tackle. But this one, for its timeliness,
It feels very timely.
very important to me as well. I would agree with you. The synchronicities are just off the charts, and how fun is that?
No, exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So if you are out there and you're drawn to this material in any way, shape, or form, and you've been following along in the videos, that there is a playlist, so I am recording them. But we are going to begin it from the beginning, and we're going to read it together and chat at any time. Sometimes in our last book, it might take us a little bit to get through, something, Now, what I like about these are sessions. So after the first part of the book, which takes about an hour and a half to 2 hours, it's more of an introductory type thing, I think, is the way it feels to me. But then after that, it goes into the sessions, and they're numbered. And each session is about 10 to 15 minutes long. Generally, that's about it. And so I've been recording 2 sessions at a time, generally. it takes about 25 minutes. So I can't see any reason why our book club would be any different. And we could even chat about each channeled session as we read it. Um,
That's my favorite part.
yeah, I know, right? Because for me, all channeled information comes from the all. It comes from all of us. And I think that's why so much channeled information, and a lot of people feel like, well, I can't get on board with all of it, so therefore I'm poo-pooing all of it. Now, I've met folks that feel right to do for that, and you should. You always follow your own discernment.
Right.
For me, I noticed that I've all felt as though everything I've ever been drawn to, there was something in it for me. And I've found puzzle pieces in almost every single thing I've ever been drawn to look at, read, partake in. There's always something there for me. I don't.
Agreed. Yeah. I can always find something in everything that resonates with me.
Actually, this begs a question I've been asking myself to ask you, and now that we're here,
Yeah.
I feel as though that has something to do with that uh the completion of circuits.
Sure.
When you're
Absolutely.
drawn, when you're drawn, there's something to complete that circuit. May not always find exactly what the circuit is exactly, if not open to being shown what it is instead of classifying it and labeling it and maybe even incorrectly to use a term my friend sometimes would use, fake news. If you do that to yourself, because I have done that, I have used fake news to myself, believing
Right.
something that wasn't true. I mean, that's what it is at the bottom core of it.
Right.
But I feel as though that's what that is. That's that and that's almost what everyone is in search of on some metaphorical level, is that completion of that circuit. And it's not at all what we actually thought it was. It is with the all, because and it can come in different ways. We've just been taught that
Yeah.
it's this over here or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Like I was thinking for so many years that I wasn't getting anything or I didn't get data. Um, the real issue was not that I wasn't receiving data, but it was that I was attached to it coming in a certain fashion, that it would have a certain feel or flavor or substance to it. Like I had preconceived notions of what it should, could, or would be. And that is having that complete circuit and just noticing it is how I observed that. I observed that actually everything I needed was coming to me, only I was holding it as I need this over here specifically, and it has to come from over there specifically. And when that did not happen, I thought there was no completion of circuit, and we had something is a foul here. When in reality, it was my errant thinking or attachments on the subject that caused the misfire, if you will. Whereas if I approached it open, I don't know what I don't know. I'm willing to see what would benefit me right now, and then just accept what comes and take from that that which nurtures me, that which fills me up, that which shows me something, and let the rest go. Then I could see that everything I encounter is my teacher. And everything I encounter is my student. So there is something in this encounter that I gift, and there is something that gets returned that I am gifted. And that is the only container I wish to carry now, is knowing that there's something for me in everything that happens to me. And that is how I find it, is to allow it to come and allow it to inform me. That's it. Because the data is all there now. I haven't parsed it out saying it has to look this way, this way, this way, that way. And if those things aren't present, then I feel like it was a wash. Now I look at what is present and I become present with it. And then I allow the lessons to highlight or to rise above. And then the rest can just wash away now. I don't focus on it any longer. I don't need it. I don't need to even fight it or do anything. It just disappears when I keep my focus on what is rising up out, right? And what is for me is where my focus lies. And I interact with that and I grow from that experience. And then I openly receive the next experience and allow it to inform me, which this is brand new for me, because for too long, I was holding it in certain ways. Well, I'm creating the life of my dreams, then it's got to include this, that, and the other thing. But in reality, this, that, and the other thing were ways or mechanisms or tools for me to achieve feeling a certain kind of way about myself and my experience. And so now I see that if I bring what I wish to experience or gain from the situation to the situation, the parts in the situation that resonate with my gift, what I'm bringing, add to my gift and magnify my already peaceful state, my inquisitive nature, my playful attitude is what's magnified then and returned to me. And so now I'm really enjoying my life. I'm not waiting for something to change or shift or someone to go or someone to come in order to feel the way I just really want to feel. Instead, I'm focusing on bringing that and allowing whatever is coming to me, through me, or with me to be what it is.
Well, I'm right there with you. The thing that I'm being shown of late in regards to that is that when those things arise, right?
Mm-hmm.
I am shown again, this is going back to that. Oh, so that's what you think? Because I have this proclivity, and I think almost everyone does, the moment something occurs, whether it be a thought, of an idea, I don't know, it could even be a tragedy. There's an assignment of it is this instead of, well, because is it really that? Is it what I've just assigned it? I don't know yet. It just happened. How about giving it a second or two to unfold into its fullness rather than judging it? See, for me, I've noticed attachment hasn't been my issue of late. It's the judging of what a thing is prior to its unfoldment, because it is the very act of my judgment of this thing. Oh, it's this big tragedy. And now, guess what? Oh, it's going to be this big effing tragedy if I am assigning it that right away. Because, I have had that in my life where something I assigned it was a big tragedy. And oh my God, now what? Until later on, I was like, well, boy, oh boy, am I glad that took place, because So that's what I mean when I keep saying my what I keep being shown is, are you sure that what you're assigning this is what it is? Because it may not be. And you're not, Sheila, are you giving it any amount of time to unfold itself to show you what it is? Because, we live in an instant, not just an instant gratification type world, but an instant, you're expected to know a thing.
Right.
I asked you a question. Answer me.
Right.
Hold on a second. Let's allow something to unfurl for a moment, because that, at least for me, that's what I am being reminded of quite a bit of late, which is why, again, for me, it was quite interesting how those cards showed up from the bottom of those two decks like that. The contemplation and beyond the ego, because that's just that message all over again for me. Don't be so quick to assign tragedy to something that might appear as tragic or annoying, or frustration inducing or whatever, right? Because I'm being shown that that may not actually be the end result of it, and my not
Although it certainly can be, though, can't it?
Oh, sure.
Yeah, so
Yes, exactly. Because if I assign it that, and then I'm empowering it with all of those thoughts about it, now it's on a roll, sister. It's on the
well,
way
I'm
out
seeing
there
the old saying, don't judge a book by its cover here, because you will experience that judging. So if I feel like inherent in everything is a gift for me, period. This is where I'm coming to now. And of course, inherent in everything is a great tragedy as well, because it just depends upon one's interpretation, or how they wish your focus chooses your experience. So you can change nothing but yourself and change everything, if that makes any sense. And I cannot change the experience for you. No, I can't. But I can change it for me. So we could be in the same tragedy, and I have the experience of the biggest blessing that's to come my way so far, while the person sitting next to me has just experienced the worst devastation of their lifetime. And the event was one and the same.
Right.
So really, everything works for you, not against you. And when you choose that perspective, that this is here for my benefit, and then look for the gift, because when you look for the gift, you will find it, because inherent in everything is the gift. It's just there. And so it's up to you to find it, or to nurture that and have the experience of it.
Thank you for coming and talking with me again about this. I love our DIY INcensions, and I'm being nudged here to share, since I don't know, I think this might actually be the first one on this channel. And in that case, I feel as though an explanation may be in order.
Okay.
Lisa and I have been doing this for a while. This is my third channel, and for those of you that are new. And we began this segment by calling it DIY Ascension. And I always said that didn't seem to be the right word, because I felt like it's not just that we are rising, there's a larger portion of me that is entering into my physical vessel in ways that I've not allowed before, that I know I haven't allowed before. And so I always felt like that wasn't quite the right word. And then a young lady by the name of Ireland Clark, that we had tuned into a couple of times, used the word INcension. I feel like I was drawn to her. You may have been drawn to her specifically for that, because that was the key. And that's why I've never forgotten her name, and I give her credit every time I can think about it. I love that she coined that, or at least she did for me, INcension, because that is kind of what we're doing. We are it's a marriage of for me, the ego and the soul in a way in the physical vessel that's not I've not experienced before. That's why I like that term. And I can't help but feel like it's going on for those who are choosing this on planet Earth. Not everyone is choosing this experience to move up in frequency embodied. It's sort of a I kind of feel like sometimes I feel like we are the phoenix in a way, because we are dying and rebirthing ourselves right in these shoes, right here in this physical vessel. I keep getting messages now that there are parts of me that are dying and other parts that are changing and being reborn, and like you were saying earlier, the physical evidence of that is on every it can be seen, in our time together. So that is really what this is. It's all about our experiences as we move through what you and I kind of feel. I think we both feel kind of the same about that. My explanation is very similar to yours, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's what we're doing. We're just sharing what goes on for each. I think this came in this morning, and I wish my higher self gives me like impressions and certain words, but I don't get a soliloquy just like you do necessarily. And it was in the form of a love letter that I was apparently creating for my granddaughter. Because as you know, she's about to move. At what age specifically we move from the God frequency into another frequency, I don't know. The programmed matrix frequency, I don't know. She probably has made that transition already, but this whole love letter came in that felt to say that each point of awareness on this planet is just that a window of the creator into this physicality for the experience of that physicality's lifetime. Mm-hmm. And I feel each of us have stepped from the God frequency into the programmed matrix frequency of experience that we chose to experience. My birthday wish, and it's actually a wish I think for all of us, is that because I feel like we do maintain it to some degree, but that my wish for her was that she never lose touch with that inner child, that inner portion of her that she is about to fully step out of and into the programmed matrix, both with first grade. It's a very big thing, right? So to me anyway, and I feel like this was something that I was having a moment with her of my own, but it also felt poignant because it's all points of awareness on the planet are moving, and some now moving from that pre-programmed matrix and seeing themselves for the first time, in varying different ways, like you and I are. There's so many folks that are just getting glimpses of that at these moments. It's so beautiful to behold for me. I feel like, and So I wanted to give that explanation. Would you like to add anything from your point of view about what DIY INcension is? What you're feeling to convey about it to those who will be tuning in?
Well, I think you did a terrific job explaining it. I think also when you were speaking about the INcension piece, I thought of Heather's words. She was a friend. She is a friend that was doing some radio shows some time ago. Yeah, that's where I got the book. And she was introducing some new concepts to, humanity at large that I included was having a hard time sort of wrapping my brain around.
Yeah, me too.
And people were asking her, well, what about enforcement? How are we going to enforce these new rules? She was really talking about love being the new law, because she didn't use those words, but I am, because that's what she was describing. And I understand now what she was driving at all those years ago. And she kept saying enforcement, not enforcement. She was using capital IN, enforcement. And I'm really understanding that point of view, because I stand in that knowledge now, that everything comes from within, right? And it gets out there through me. And so, of course, it would be an INcension. I kind of see it as I'm taking a trust fall into myself, right? Into the all that is that I am. And from that place, I am expressing what I wish to experience in this physical realm of experience game that we find ourselves in. And so what I love about our INcension conversations is that we are taking what used to be an external focus for me, looking to others to inform me and to heal me and to, provide for me. And now I'm turning inward for all of that. And so for me, INcension really describes better what we're doing here. And I love the DIY concept because it's a very solitary dive. This is one that one must take on one's own. See? And what you and I are doing is we are taking that dive into our own oneness together in company. This is where we come together after our inward deep dives, and we share what we saw there and what we experienced there. And I feel like we encourage one another with our perspectives. I've learned so much from your inner guidance and hearing about it. And so I really see the value of sharing my inner journey with you, because you get to do something with that or not. That's up to you.
Right.
But I love sharing in this way. And I hope that those who feel called to join us are enjoying it as much as we are, because then they would enjoy it a lot.
No, that's so true. That's so true. Well, the other thing that you and I have noticed, and what, I would like for everyone to kind of consider, is that whenever we have been drawn, or I'll just speak for myself, whenever I've been drawn to someone for a conversation or an interaction or something, there's always something in there for me. There's always good juju of some sort. And so I always now I just move in that direction where I'm drawn, and I love it when, beings feel the same, and because part of the thing that I've noticed for myself, um, about not attaching to things like you were speaking on earlier, is that it is only by allowing my attachment specifically to information or data to just release all attachment to that, because all data at this point for me is suspect and has to be taken internally to be approved, disapproved. Is this true or not? Because there's just I've seen too much, I know too much now, and there's just with everything that is transpiring in the out there around, it is for me imperative to bring it here, because
Yes.
there's nothing out there that there's so much out there that says it is this when it actually is not at all that on any sort of level. And
Well, and we have uh, even the same person saying this thing one day and this thing the next. So really, we are being forced by the external circumstances at this juncture, in my opinion, to go within and to trust only yourself. But also, in so doing, you get to decide what you energize or what it is that you are gifting back to the universe so that it may come back to you. So it doesn't even matter anymore to me what's the truth of that particular subject. Doesn't matter what anyone else's truth or what anyone else is doing. But what matters, right, what creates the material realm in front of me is my opinion. So I'm squarely staying focused on choosing the opinion that serves me most or best, if you will,
yeah,
that brings to me the experience I wish to have.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for doing this one with me. I know, I think
Thank you.
I'm pretty sure it is the first one of the DIY INcensions on the new channel.
Okay,
So
well, I look forward to many more.
yay, me too. And I also invite anyone else out there who is interested to come and share, from their perspective, what they've been experiencing, what is unfolding for you. Especially, here's my thing. This is so too, Lisa. I've always felt like if you have a drive to share something with me or someone, there's a reason for that too. And so please don't let
Yes.
anything like that stop you. You can find me Conscious Conversation Central at gmail.com. Well, Sassy C or Sheila at gmail.com too. But, Conscious Conversation Central at gmail.com is the main channel. And I wanted to also say you can find me Conscious Conversation Central on Rumble. And so we're going to be back, aren't we? In pretty short order. I don't know if we're going to do it today, but we have another conversation to do with you, don't we?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Oh, yes. Is this going to be the inaugural? We're going to call it the inaugural for this channel anyway.
Okay, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love letters from the universe. So that's going to be the next video that you will see after this one. If you're following them in order, I don't know.
Yeah.
Nobody has to do that. I hope that you will always, or, begin to move towards that which brings you the highest joy in each moment that presents itself to you. It really is just a matter of your perspective, and maybe even just slowing yourself down long enough to see that you do have more than one perspective to choose from at any given moment. I know that's what because that whole thing about allowing something to unfurl can show you that, hey, wait a minute, it's not exactly what I thought it was. Till next time.
Much love.